during our period. Yeah. For the impact, yes, of course, we will have some timely and affordable or community-centered solutions that can save our life, infrastructure, or even agriculture that have, let's say that early one is better than post solution after this happened. So we try to have the one that can be finished or can be done earlier better than keep the solution after the damage or after the effect. So the other one is reduce cost because we can reduce or we can protect or reduce for the repair or recovery the expense and data driver there are costs about it. Government or even community we also have some experimental and demo only we haven't tried to do the real world applications because in terms of budget limitation or even the equipment limitation ability. So we try to do some demo here and then we have some how to say it's like a home or flooding around here and then we try to do some demo and then send to the station that we have set up. The one thing that we try to use solar cell because in rural area or remote area that is limited to connect with the electricity, so we try to use the solar cell and then our controller that we have set up based on the design system that we have so far. Yeah, for the output, we also have the one is the most important thing is about warning system or alarm or alert from the system. The system is not just alarm to the mobile application or even the web application, but we try to set the alarm to the SMS or the other thing like a podcast in case remote area is difficult to connect to internet, so we also try to do that and try to have the perspective that for the how early that we try to do the alarm or to the citizen or to the people that around the risky area. So we also try to do some. Yeah. And also we also have some graph that from the dashboard that we try to sorry that because of the we have very short time to do some experiences, so we try to use like loud language and in the future we should also try to have the dashboard in English or the other multiple language. Yeah, so it's so this is our dashboard and the outcome of the system that we have tried to finish so far. Yeah, now we come to the conclusion the project that we have tried and then we have done so far. The purpose for our is predicting floods, protecting communities. This is together with AI or artificial intelligence and IoT technology that combine together. Because now you may know everywhere they use AI for their work or their research or anything that already relevant to the AI. So also we also try to use this kind of technology to have the better solution or better result. What we are focusing on is about the target that we have tried to integrate this IoT sensors that I already have mentioned earlier, and then we will have AI model prediction to predict the frost and then to protect the community, including the life, infrastructure, or agriculture, or anything that, or even a livestock or something that we also have tried to come up with our system. That method that we have set up to the experiment of the physical layer as we call IoT devices that consists of rainfall, water level, soil moisture, and flow sensors. In against we also try to use some database to collect the data and to come up with the historic data from the communities. Yeah. So the one of the most important thing we also alert or alarm or early warning system and also SMS gateway that we also try to integrate to send the notification in terms of no internet connection or so on. And the impact, yeah, of course, we have a lot of things that we come up with the scientific and social impacts, infrastructure or agriculture, save life, or then water disease solution and reduce the cost of data development and so on. So, yeah. Now is the roadmap that we have prepared and now we have completed, but as I mentioned earlier that I have just tried to do the experiment in terms of laboratory only, but for the real world application we haven't tried because the limitation of our hardware or the ability of the hardware or even of the sensor is quite a little bit not not like a production or not like a real world application, not like a real world devices that used to test the outside. So we also try to find some fund or even for that this project I already planned and then I already prepared for the ASEAN IVO submission for the coming years, 2026. Yeah. So come to the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, I'm really happy to answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's only 30 minutes for presentation, and we have totally 7 minutes for discussion. Please. Have got some question? Yes.
Thank you very much, Professor Tui. Wonderful presentation, Dr. Khamna. You mentioned in your slide that you do use LSTM, right? So we know that the machine learning models need data to be trained. I'm just wondering what type of data and how big and how reliable your data for training this model.
Basically, it's quite not too big because we try to use 4 kind of parameters that I mentioned earlier, and then at the beginning, I have tried to collect by the system itself from the IoT sensors, and then to predict the thing that will happen for the flooding. We try to have like a multi features to apply to the system because the main focus that we try to find where the floods coming from, not just only how many parameters has to be put to the model and then have only one result or one outcome or something.
Thank you.
Thank you. Some more question and comments, please. Would you please?
Hello, morning. Thanks for the presentation. I'm from Malaysia. So over the past many years, I think the SC member can help to confirm. I think there were numerous proposals similar on flood early warning system. So the first question is, how is this different from the previous projects or maybe from the literature? What are the new data or factors that you are studying which makes your thing really justify what it means by early warning? That was the first question. Because early warning, how early is early, right? Is something that, because you're talking about saving life. So based on the presentation, it sounds like, okay, things happen. Of course, you have the prediction with the AI. So based on those 4 data that you have. And then second question related to this is, besides the 4 data that you have, what about other real activities which are the root cause to flooding? Example is upstream information or human activities like deforestation and all this, right? Because we are measuring things that is already happening, and then with those things you run a prediction. But really, what is the root cause for all this? I think it would be very useful if you can hit that point
questions. The first question is about how different with the others. Let's say that maybe they also have some many research that have done so far about this one. Mostly they try to focus on how to monitor the natural disaster, then this then we release water. Yeah. So, but for our system, we try to focus on early warning system. As you mentioned that how early, that it is my question as well. That I also try to find some mechanisms to solve this problem also. And say that we also try to have like a historic data from the community, like a big commission, like a MRC. Yeah, we also try to plan to work with them because they also have some system that they also I have tried to use the application as well. They also have a very good application, but that one they just have like a monitoring system to see what happened right now. But for us, we try to alarm to send notification to the people, to the community earlier. Yeah, and then for your second question.
It's, besides the 4 parameters, what
Oh yeah, the design of the for now we have focused just only 4 because we also try to prove that this works first, and then for the next week also try to see the history the data that we can get from the maybe come from the community or come from the dam operator that they also have some data already. And also most of the dam company or operator or hydropower, they also have their own system. We also try to work with them, but not for this week, but for the next week after finishing all of these steps.
I'm just thinking, because those 4 parameters that you listed, I think it's common. So for your proposal to upstand, you should have include some extra things that is obviously different than what is currently being used, and to really then contribute towards justifying how early you mean is your early warning, instead of just saying, yeah, early. So it's a true early warning system, because we study data towards uncovering or determining what is the root cause of the thing, like the dam operations. Is there any malfunction instead of just water level, right? What about the monsoon, the weather? Is there any data from satellites that actually you can use? Maybe some of those are just my input to help on your proposal.
Very good solution that I also we keep in mind and we consider to my proposal.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kamla. Nana Lisa. And now I'd like to invite Dr. Bigul Vision Graha and other from Chiang Mai University, Thailand. Please.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Bigul from Chiang Mai University, Thailand. So today proposal will be about the flood guard. It's very similar to the previous research. So for us, this will be focused on the AI-driven flood prediction and alert system for flood-prone regions in ASEAN. So from the background, as we know that flood are at times boundary by nature. So if you see from this picture, so you can see that the flow of the typhoon, that this is just the Kalmeki, that just start from the beginning of this month. And you can see that it's gonna start from the Philippines, coming up to the northern part of Thailand, to Vietnam, Cambodia, and then go to Laos a little bit and go to the northern part of Thailand and Myanmar. So this one is still affect Thailand nowadays because the level of dam is a little bit too high. And normally they say that the Kaliki does come at the end of the season, of the rainy seasons here. Normally the flood will come to the southern part, but this time it's going up to this area. So when it go up to the northern part of Thailand, it affect a lot about the water level in the dam in Thailand. So we have known that this affect a lot, especially in the human agriculture economics losses a lot. And we have known some keyword that if the water sea level is hotter, it's going to come like make the storm more powerful. So how we can track those things and use this information to predict something in the future. All right, and another picture is the real situation is the P1 station in Chiang Mai. So actually we have a dashboard showing the water level in Thailand, but it's not so practical. Normally people will like checking from this P1 station in Chiang Mai at Navalas Beach, and they will see that if the water level reached 4.2, it means that okay, start evacuate because this is almost at the maximum level of the Ping River. So even we have monitoring, even we have a number showing, but sometimes the water is coming up at late night. So they need to like monitoring this number, and then people in the Rojo region, they will like try to check just the number at this position that if it's come up that more than 4.2, then we have to start moving. So our methodologies that we would like to show is gonna combine with the SIG work packages. So the first one is will be the design system from the beginning, from end to end, like how we get the data from IoT from the station that we have in Chiang Mai, and then how we can connect all data together, combine together. The second one is for the data processing pipeline, as we will combine the IoT information and also the data from the API online. So to combine all of this together, we have researched some resource that we can get that information, like such as from the TMD, Thai Meteorological Department, and also some higher informatic institutes, and also the information from around ASEANs like ASMC or DFS. And then after we get all those information, we will try to create the AI model that we'll use to predict the flood level and also how to create the early warning system. So in this one, we also have another team from Chiang Mai University that working on the flood protection earlier. In this team, they will use the drone to like take a picture in 3D and then try to get the level of the landscape, and then how to say the Chiang Mai and Bangkok is kind of different because the Chiang Mai they have a high slope in the mountain, so the slope of the mountain is also one of the factors that's very important. That's why they try to use the drone taking that map and then combine with the water level, then we can predict the flow of the water. So we also have this idea that to like hybrid forecasting from the rainfall and also the mapping area in Chiang Mai as well. And the next one is for the system integrations. So in this one, as you see from the typhoon they're not gonna start from just one country, but they're gonna start from the Philippines and go to Vietnam and then go to Cambodia, go to Laos and Thailand and have that. So you can see that if we get the information from each country and then we'll combine the node from each country and then get in the time from information from the AI model, and then we can like get some like for example today how is affect the water level in Laos today, something like that. So we get that information, and then we believe that if we got that information and we can predict something from the level of the storm, then we can get more accurate from the early warning system. The next one is work packet number 5 is to setting up the alert system, which will be related on the knowledge that we get from the transfer model that we get from AI. The last one is to set the knowledge transfer, which will like sharing the data and then also sharing this idea and also our dashboard to the local people as well, especially in Chiang Mai, Thailand. So this will show the example of the data that I tried to get from the website. This is for the API that we can plug in, and this is the data that we can get real time, and this is from all over the ASEAN country. So one is can be the pressure. The pressure is also important, like it will set the direction of the storm and also the temperature as well. And this one is P1 station in Chiang Mai, and this is the real images in Chiang Mai that they got a water level station here. And it is showing that this will be the features that they use to detect it and use to mostly from the research that they use to predict the water level and flood predictions like the rainfall catchment area, canal capacity, river length and slope, water level, US rain day, and discharge stat. And this is for our proposed technique that we're trying to integrate it, not just only from the station in Thailand, but we try to combine all the API information from other country. And if we can get that information, I think that we can like predict it the early morning and also getting the lead time that can predict the level of the storm, and then we can like set the evacuate plan for the people in the ASEAN country. So this one is our previous work that we worked on the rainfall runoff model. So in the rainfall runoff model, this is in Bangkok area. So in Bangkok area, as I told you that they don't have a problem about the slope that much. So didn't have the slope level problem. In this case, they will use the information of the rainfall and runoff using the base flow and storm flow. But in Bangkok, the best thing that they have is like they have a station and they have a level that we can get real time. But in Chiang Mai, it's not the same, right? Because the facility is not the same as in the Bangkok. So this is very hard to get the information like this in Chiang Mai. So maybe we have to set some IoT for our research in order to get that information from the station more if you want to. And the next one will be the previous work that we worked from the INN Durban info forecasting for dam safety in order to get the info prediction for the management of the dam. And another one is our ongoing project with the fire spot and smoke detection in Chiang Mai. So in this one, we already have the station in Chiang Mai. If they will know that this will have a problem of flood when they have a very very heavy rain in the northeast part. So if we have a heavy rain in the northeast part, then the water level and amount of water will be increased a lot. And if they have a rain 2 or 3 days more, then the water level in the city or the downtown will be increased a lot. So if we can add some IoT system here to predicting some weather in the northeast part, like higher than the downtown of the Chiang Mai, then we can predict something, and we can like use that information to setting up the early morning system for the model. And this will be the impact for the scientific and technologies, but we'll apply the AI that will try to integrate all the information together, like the data fusion and some important information from the IoT in the local area, such as in the downtown and the northeast part of Chiang Mai. And we're gonna have our social impact, like we enhance the community safety in the foreign area and reduce loss to the people. Also the cooperative for the other country in ASEAN, border long term, so we'll have like get the resilient goals that can protect the climate change and then protect the people from the front outward. So the output of our work will be the AI model that we use to detect predicted some change from the weathers and then predict the front and predict the day, how long, and how we can protect the people from the flooded area and where is the safe area that we can like let people go to evacuate. And then we will propose the open access data from our source that is ready to use for the time series data and also the alert system, which will have to connect with the local uh, government to help for this one. And the outcome of this one in long term, this will be the model with the data that people, if they're interested in our research about the flooding, they can use our technique to analyze more and get more information insight in the future. And we also strengthen our capacity in ASEAN to combine our technology together and reduce the loss of life for the people. Lastly, as our proposed technique, you can see that we have like a node that starting from, so you know like when we have our storm is not start in a day, we know in advance, but we don't know how strong it is. So if we can predict how strong it is, like maybe from the weather, temperature, or predict some location from something like this, then we can estimate the damage that we will have. So we believe that if we can create the model that get the time for knowledge sending from the first part to the second, third part, then we can predict the flooding level and risks that we're gonna create from this. Yes. And for the long term, we actually work on the virus part and PM 2.5 as well. So we think about is this possible if we combine them all together to be the multi-hazard early warning and the monitoring system, combine all of this together. Yeah, in order to like create the early warning to the people, not just only in Thailand but in the Asian regions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pat. And it's time for discussion and comments, please. Roberto-san.
Thank you very much, Dr. Okay, so this is a very nice presentations. So just wondering about the AI model that you are planning to use it to predict the disaster from the flooding. So what kind of model you using and what kind of this is a model that you have to train from zero or you have to fine tune some model that existing right now?
Okay, thank you for the questions. So basically, we will work on the station in Thailand first. So in Thailand, it can be used like LSTM or some time series model that we can get the information in real time. That we will get this one from the API model of the data, and then after we get this API data, then we can predict the model. But this one is still not accurate that much because somehow they will have some effect from the brain from like I told you that they will have some more root cause that come from the brain from the top part of the regions. Then if we use the IoT to add more information from that one, this will be more accurate. And if we like working together with the teams, so we may need to discuss about what's supposed to be the features that we will combine it together in order to create the time for knowledge model in AI.
Okay. So maybe I think I recommend that maybe to give your proposal to get a high score or maybe good quality. So maybe I suggest to add about the model evaluations to get more accuracies to predict the disaster is coming from the flooding or typhoons of land. So we can maybe work with the team to discuss how to evaluate model with the train data and evaluate data, something like that. Yes.
Thank you very much.
We have a very short time for discussion of this. 3 minutes, maybe. Could you please? Yes.
We could. I think your last slide that you concluded right would be looks like your opening. I mean, from ASEAN point of view, those are the things that you sort of more like setting up the background. Because the flood is actually a macro type of level issue. It's not just within a state, within a country, within an area, it's more like a region. So they're all interconnected. So particularly in ASEAN IVO, I think it would be very useful if you start addressing where collaborations would be needed. In such a slide, you are showing a region where hopefully you are also having in mind who are some of those members from other countries that will join you. That's input number one. Then number two, basically you show a bigger scope as compared to the first one. Then maybe you can also extend your collaboration with our friend from Laos. So to look at it as a holistic problems on how we can solve this. I think that will be my input.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Here you also look into some hydrological data to see how the water flows and then see the soil. Will you also look into geological data as well to understand the water flows, or do you collaborate with some hydrogeologists for that?
Right now, I try to check the open source data, but now some information is not open access free. Yeah, so we try to check that which one is open for use right now to predict the models. And if we find more like open source data, or we can contact some institute that can share this information, then we will combine.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pico, for presentation. Thank you. And I would like to invite Dr. Dinesh Marcia and Henry Kahasi from Singapore and Vietnam. Please.
Right, okay. Thanks so much. Thanks a lot for the invitation. So I'm Henrik, and we have another talk about Chiang Mai. Just to highlight the background, that's the photo of Chiang Mai. So you can see the talk is not going to be about flooding. It's actually a really beautiful region if you get the chance to visit Chiang Mai. Unfortunately, they have problems with flooding, and the other problem is haze or fires. So the problem that we're trying to tackle is actually the consequences of burning by farmers or wildfires using IoT and drones. There's a collaboration with my colleagues at Chiang Mai University and RMIT in Vietnam. I'm Henry Hesse from the University of Glasgow. Just to show you a bit of the background, so that's an example of fire. That's something that we don't want to get to this point, so the project is actually looking at early onsets of fires. Before it comes to these extreme wildfire events that we do see in the region of Chiang Mai, typically it starts in very remote areas, with a small fire source, a bit of smoke and so on, and then it turns into extreme fires. You see here, this is actually really close to the cities already. Okay. If you have a chance to visit Chiang Mai during the dry season between January and April, you see the health consequences are dramatic. So people can't actually do outdoor activities anymore. It affects school children as well, going to schools and so on. So it's a huge problem, apart from flooding. That's the other one that we're trying to address. And this is an ongoing project that we've been doing for the last 2 years. So one thing that we're trying to do is use IoT sensors, so have smoke sensors on the ground that can detect fires very early. I'll show you a picture in a second. But the other part that we're doing is actually integrate this with a prediction framework, similar to previous works with the floods, so that we know where fires may start and then actually work with local authorities to prevent the fires from spreading. We have a collaboration with the communities that live in those remote areas to actually fight fires. The other collaboration we have is with the forest department in Chiang Mai. that manage the areas around the city, so all this forest in the hills, looking at can we regrow those areas. So we have forests affected by fires and also agriculture, and there's a big movement of actually regrowing those forest areas and potentially using it for carbon capturing. So trying to even monetize that process for the local communities. So that's the initial project that we had. Is straightforward. We put lots of IoT sensors on the ground. So these are really cheap sensors. The problem that we have, I guess similar to previous projects, is that we don't have connectivity. So this is in remote areas where we might not have mobile network reception. Second problem is if we put a SIM card into all these devices, we've been talking about hundreds or thousands of these cheap sensors around, they drain batteries quickly. So we don't have solar panels, but still the issue of, we need a very large solar panel to power these devices. What we're proposing instead is using a drone as a communication hub. So it acts as a relay system that basically flies over a pre-programmed path to download the information from all these sensors, and the drone itself can actually fly to a point where we have 4G connectivity, or where we have a sort of super node that we can use. In terms of communication, we're using first Wi-Fi, but now we've moved to LoRa to have longer range communication. You see here the illustration in the end. Then, of course, once the drone streams the data to our central response center, the cloud, we can alert fire services or feed this into our prediction models. So this is the implementation that we've done. You see here the IoT sensors, very simple with smoke, temperature, humidity sensors, running on low cost, low power embedded devices. For the drone system, you have a picture in the next slide. We use a DJI drone that's been modified to basically be able to have the communication aspect. And then for the cloud system, we can do machine learning prediction or dashboard that we've seen in previous work. That's a screenshot of our drone. It looks very cute. So we use a commercial drone for this. My background is in drone development, so that's the part we're doing. Unfortunately, for the commercial drone that we use, the payload bay is on top of the drone. So anybody working with communication, you can see that's not the best way to put your boat in there. That's the antennas here. So things we have is, of course, with the crops, right? We were wondering, does this have any effect on their communication capabilities? And the other one is the antenna orientation, because we will have IoT sensors on the ground. There's thick forest in between, and of course the range will be affected. One thing that we managed to do, so this is our collaborator at Shanghai University, Prof. Kapo. Through his collaboration with NICT, he was actually able to test the communication aspects. So we see here that's the drone mounted, that's the antenna, that's the electronics chamber at NICT. So we were able to test what's the quality of communication at different angles that we're using, with propellers on and propellers off, to also see what's the effect of propellers on the communication aspects. So these are some results that we are now publishing, thanks to the collaboration with NICT. The second part in terms of experimental results is deployment of our IoT sensors. So you see it on the right. In 2024, we only distributed about 6 of them, just have their sensors ready, deploy them in the world, learn all the experiences, because when you have those sensors, things happen, like animals eat up your sensors, they're exposed to humidity and so on. So we learned a lot from that part. And we had an actual fire event as well, so that's the whole point that we wanted to validate it and demonstrate. And we were lucky enough that our sensors were close to a fire source. So that's the satellite data. So retrospectively, you can basically look at the history of actual fire events, and that's the location of one of our sensors. So we were quite close. And you can see here the smoke sensors. So sensor number 1 blue picked up this intensity of smoke, whereas the other sensors that were somewhere around here didn't pick this up. So it validates our IoT sensors. Just with simple smoke sensors, we can actually pick up the smoke first. And our idea is really that before the fire starts, there is smoke, which we pick up, We can stream this data to the cloud, alert fire services or local villages to immediately go and kill that fire, okay, before it spreads to a large scale event. So the impact for us, it's a small step first to detecting wildfires, but of course we're thinking bigger in terms of the whole ecosystem. So it's not our coin that we termed it, but it's the Internet of Drones. You see an example here on the right, right? Interconnected drones with IoT devices for environmental sensing and monitoring. We also looked at developing a prediction tool. So you see this illustrated here. Similar to the previous project, actually, through an API, we can get real-time data. Looking at temperature, pressure, and humidity, rainfall, wind direction, to see which direction the smoke would go, for example, and actually use it to predict where fires can happen. Problem with fires in Thailand, it's very random. Normally, it's triggered by human actions, farmers setting fire and so on. So the results for this one were not very good. So we're looking at adding additional information there, like topography, topology of the region, and looking at human action to add this into the machine learning models that we're exploring. The idea is really, can we have a heat map of likely fires happen based on available weather data or our own weather stations as well that we have on the ground in our field sites. Okay, ongoing projects that we have now, so that's the upscale version of our sensors that we're currently deploying. In Thailand, we're always running against time because the dry season is from January till April. So we're now rushing that we can have the new generation of sensors ready. You see those ones here. That's the small nodes that we're deploying, hundreds of them currently, and this is what we call a super node. We have at 2 field sites. Okay, and the other ongoing aspects are actually initial developments. So can we look at biodiversity in the region, and can we support Chiang Mai University in regrowing those areas that were previously grown there? Okay, so in conclusion, we have our sort of IoT framework with the idea of using drones to download the data and have a almost real-time system for remote areas. And just to show you some of the nicer pictures here, we're working with the community in the region. So these are activities that we're doing to regrow those affected areas or look at things that we can do in terms of fire breakers, fire barriers for the fire to spread. And that's a picture on the bottom right here showing what we're doing in terms of UAV-based seeding to support the regrowth of the forest areas in Thailand. Thanks a lot for your attention and the invitation to present the work today.
Thank you so much for presentation. This time, we want to have a question in comments, please. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. Question is that you mentioned about the real-time predictions and how do you manage the latencies in the connection. For example, you may end up with incomplete data or something. Do you have any mitigation approach?
Yeah, that's an almost real time. Because obviously we have the problem that our IoT devices are not connected to the internet, so we have the drone that's downloading the data. So depending on the size of the area, we have our pre-programmed path for the drones to actually connect the data. So it's not in real time, but it would be every half an hour we can get snippets of data coming in terms of the smoke intensity that our IoT sensors are recording.
So do you expect you may still have incomplete data? You have a specific approach to mitigate it?
Right, and the idea is really that if a fire happens, the smoke and so on builds up slowly. So we are hoping that within this half an hour, that we have the data coming in, that it would not lead to a full-scale fire.
All right, thank you.
May I ask later, how often that your drone observe the area? Since the Wi-Fi is such high, if you only delay for 5 minutes, is gone. And that is first question. That is how often for the drone. And for the second question is about the ground sensor. What type of the ground sensor that you install and how is the cover area? Since as manual is for like if you some kind of some sensor that just cover some only some specific area. And also I would like to know that which kind of sensor that you use for some kind of make a decision since some kind of the Wi-Fi they shoot for early state of the Wi-Fi, so it's much more, so it should be some kind of IoT vision, some kind of camera installed, the change of smoke or something. So I just wonder about the practical.
I have that picture is not so good, but yes. So our approach is purely sensor based. So unlike the previous presentation where it's vision based to detect smoke in images, what we're doing is we basically have this one here. Yeah, we have air quality sensor BME 680 that we're using that can basically detect the concentration of smoke particles. So it's ground-based measurements of smoke. And the idea is really that if you have those small sensors around the forest, and as the fire starts, the smoke would spread around. But it's in the undercover, underneath the canopy. But the problem is if you use a vision-based approach, you wait until the smoke goes outside so that you can detect it. Okay, so that's the IoT sensor we have. You see them here as well, the air quality sensor. And then, yes, we use microcontroller board, really cheap one, small one, that comes with integrated Wi-Fi, which is the reason why we initially, so it's the ESP Wi-Fi board, initially explored Wi-Fi, but the range is obviously not enough because it's a small Wi-Fi module. The tree height is about 40, 45, 50 meters. So if we're flying our drones at around 60 meters, it's already not enough anymore for that Wi-Fi connectivity. So that's why in the current version now we're looking at LoRa. And
for the sensor layer for one right area, how about that you decide how many the nodes such to cover the area?
So we put about every 100 meters we put sensors out.
100?
Yes.
Very far, no?
100 meters is enough for us for the smoke only.
Smoke for 500 meters?
100 meters.
Oh, 100. Thank you.
But obviously the technical complications of deploying all these sensors every 100 meters, if we want to cover a fairly large area. You see what we're doing here? That's our test. These are the two test sites that we're using at the moment in the Chiang Mai regions. And these are test sites that are managed by the FORO, the Forest Department at Chiang Mai University. So I think, yeah, we can talk afterwards and see what other sites you're using, you know, and have a bit of overlap for this one. I do agree that a vision-based approach is better. It's more economical because you have one camera and you can see a large area. It's just for the forest area where we are in the hills. You see here, these are the hills around. I guess a vision-based approach would be a bit more difficult to deploy, which is why we're looking at the IoT sensors. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Some questions on the communication aspect. So first one is that you mentioned the development of the antenna with the Japan
Yes.
and NICT, right? So that one's like antenna for the Wi-Fi, or you are already like, I mean, like try to improve LoRa antenna. That is one thing.
That's still for the Wi-Fi.
Still for the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, this was end of 2024. So at that point, we were still looking at the Wi-Fi.
I see.
system.
Okay. So basically Wi-Fi from the drone to the super node, right?
To all the little child nodes that we have. So
To each of the sensors.
Each of the IoT sensors, yes.
I see. And what about LoRa? Have you explored the LoRa implementation in such a forest setting? Because
That's what we do, yes.
already, and you got a good, I mean, like good performance.
That's what we're doing now. So the original idea was really to have loads of little sensors here, so the child nodes that we call them, with Wi-Fi only. And from all this work that we're doing, we basically face the limitation of Wi-Fi range. So what we're doing now is LoRa, where we have a LoRa gateway and then we have the connectivity to all the child nodes through to that LoRa gateway.
And within 100 meters
Yes.
at the moment, that one you got enough, like even with in forest setting, because you got absorption, etc.,
Yes,
right?
that's the problem. So it's still a challenging environment. So based on the tests that we're doing now, 100 meters is the idea.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes.
Just a quick question on drones. Are they piloted or autonomous?
So the question was on the drones, if they're pilot or autonomous. So I'm the drone person in that project. My vision is really it is a fully autonomous system. You know, the drone out of the box system. In Singapore, there are quite a few developments where we have a box where the drone is housed. It can fly, you know, a pre-programmed path and then land again in the box, charge, and then fly again. That's the vision. At the moment, this is a commercial DJI drone. So yes, we can program. So it's following a pre-programmed path. And then it lands autonomously as well. So the whole thing is fully automated. But the problem is drone regulations at the moment require us to have a pilot on the ground. So there has to be a pilot physically there, even though we're not touching anything. So, but in future, the idea is really to have drone out of the box solution.
Everyone, some more question, please. Thank you so much, Dr. Henrik. Could you, yeah.
This nice presentation, by the way, interesting with a lot of pre-studies that you already have. So my question is, along with earlier ones, since the challenge is how many sensors are needed, 100 meters apart, so talking about forest to cover, so there's a practical challenge, right? So is there a thought on how are you going to find that strategic place where you should put the sensor instead of like just 100 meters apart, then fill up the whole forest? I mean,
yeah, I wish I had. Oh yeah, okay. We have a slightly better picture here on the right. So we are in a good situation that we are working with the forestation department at Chiang Mai University. So they're regrowing areas. They've been managing the forest for the last 25 years. So they know them quite well. The strategy, what we're seeing is when forests happen, it's close to, these are the villages here, right? So forests would basically start along these lines. So in terms of deploying sensors, we're working with them to actually see, okay, these are affected forests where we want to have a higher concentration. So
thank you so much, Henrik Hesse from University of Glasgow, Singapore.
Thank you.
And it's time for